What's going on, everyone? So, Minnesota, I had genuine concerns going into this series, right? Talked about it on live streams and videos. I wanted to play the Warriors. I wanted to play the Warriors in the first round because they're the one team that doesn't have the interior size to punish. And you saw the Lakers essentially overcompensate for their lack of interior size. They essentially just conceded the three ball, which isn't good, right? Minnesota poses a lot of advantages that are concerning, right? Now, look, I don't think the sky is falling. I don't think that's it. Lakers season is over. I still think the Lakers beat Minnesota, right? I said if they won the 2 home games that I thought they'd win in 5, but more likely I thought that they'd win in 6, which means they were going to lose 2 games. I also talked about how I thought the Lakers were going to have some hiccups and some hurdles and things along those lines, right? Because it's part of the game, right? First playoffs with Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. First playoffs for JJ Redick, right? You're going up against a team that is just not the best matchup for you, right? And matchups are very important, particularly come playoff time, right? The second round, if the Lakers get through Minnesota, again, you got to get through Minnesota, but the second round matchup is much more favorable in my opinion. Either Houston or the Warriors. I think the Lakers have a much easier time beating one of them than they do Minnesota. So if the Lakers can get through Minnesota, personally, I think they're in the conference finals. And if they end up playing OKC, I think they're in the NBA finals. But I don't want to get too far ahead, right? Sticking with Minnesota, right? Minnesota poses a lot of physicality, right? What was my biggest issue for those that remember or were around or watched the live streams and the videos where I talked about my concerns about Minnesota, and I talked about their physicality and the Lakers being more banged up than they would have been against a Warriors team or a Houston team or any of these other teams, right? Minnesota is a very big physical team that has some versatility. Now look, Lakers have a lot of advantages, particularly in Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. But when Austin Reeves and LeBron have poor performances, you're in trouble, right? What did I say? Luka and LeBron need to be transcendent, and Austin Reeves needs to be great. Luka was transcendent, LeBron was pedestrian, and Austin Reeves was bad, right? Don't want to get too hard on him. It's one game. I trust LeBron in particular to bounce back and figure it out. Austin Reeves, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He had a bad playoff performance last playoffs. I know Reeves fans try to defend it. The guy was 28% from 3, was inconsistent. There were issues, right? I trust Austin Reeves to figure it out, though, right? But Lakers are not good enough to just take possessions or quarters or anything like that off. And you can't concede. Yes, I understand Minnesota is not this lights out 3-point shooting team, but you can't just concede wide open threes. Lakers greatly overhelped, right? Because they're so worried about the interior presence, particularly with Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert and Naz Reid and guys like that, right? They're worried about the interior size. And so they overcompensated, and Anthony Edwards was able to just create that dribble penetration, just kick out the shooters, and they just picked this apart. Right? So Lakers need to do a better job of not conceding so many threes and being better disciplined and closing out on shooters. And you did see some nice things, particularly in that third quarter and the back end of the third quarter and to start the fourth before things kind of got out of hand. But it also doesn't help when you give up a 26-6 run. You can't give up a 26-6 run and expect to win very many games, right? Lakers are a very flawed team, very flawed team. Have a lot of holes, a lot of issues. Are they still a contender? Absolutely. I still believe the Lakers can win a championship. I still believe there is a version of this in a path that can win it. But I always maintain I wouldn't bet on it, right? As many arguments as there are for the Lakers to beat essentially anybody, there is as many arguments, if not more, for all these teams to beat the Lakers. Lakers do not have the luxury to take possessions off, quarters off, games off. They don't, right? Boston lost game 1 last year. Lakers in 2020 lost game 1 in pretty much every round except for the NBA Finals. Right? But those teams were good enough to where they could bounce back and it was fine. Right? Boston could have went down 0-3 and they probably would have still won and beat everybody. Right? Some teams are that good. Boston's good enough. They're just better than everybody. So they can afford a blunder. They can take a game off. They can, have poor sequences or whatever. It's okay for them because they're good enough. Lakers aren't good enough to just flip the switch and now that's it. They're the best team in the league. They're just not. Right. And so Minnesota going into this series, going into this matchup, there were a lot of concerns that it had that presented itself. I just believe that the Lakers' advantages are greater than Minnesota's advantages. Right. Minnesota's advantages, I think, are easier for the Lakers to overcome, A, or B, adjust and kind of figure out than it is for Minnesota, because they have to essentially figure out not only Luka, but Austin Reeves and LeBron. But you need all three of those guys to show up and perform, but you also need other guys to hit shots. I made a whole video going into the playoffs about how Lakers need to hit shots. It was also my concern about the rest and stuff, right? Because if guys aren't hitting shots, you're not winning. Lakers are very much a live by the three, die by the three team. They're not entirely that. Like you see some teams that are just they're not making 33s, they're not winning. Lakers can still beat you even if they're not shooting the three ball well, but they can't disappear with the effort, the energy, right? They can't disappear with the intensity and physicality and consistencies, right? Like guys need to be able to knock down shots. Guys need to be able to, you need Rui and Gabe and Dorian and Goodwin and Reeves and LeBron and all these guys to be able to knock down the three ball with some consistency and put some pressure on Minnesota and the defense. Right? Minnesota doesn't have to worry about it when everyone's 1 of 5 from 3 and you can't shoot to save your life. Why would I go out and challenge? Right? Why would I'll make the adjustment when you guys prove to me that you can start knocking down shots. And when you're not, it's like, okay, well, we're just going to stick to this game plan. Right? And then we'll make the change when the time comes, if the time comes, because there's also potential that it doesn't. And guess what? It never did for the Lakers. Lakers were never able to get over that hump. Right? Minnesota controlled that game pretty much start to finish. Right? Lakers were fine in the first quarter, but what happened in the first quarter? They were hitting shots. Luka had 20 points in the first quarter, and Rui Hachimura hit 2 threes, and Gabe hit a corner 3, and guys were hitting shots. Guys were hitting shots. We were rebounding. We were defending better. Right? Second chance points, all of that. We were out hustling them, out working them. Right? You look at that first quarter, and it's like if they just played that way the entire game, Lakers are probably blowing out Minnesota, rather than what ended up happening, which was Minnesota blowing out the Lakers. Right? Lakers need to make sure that they are putting forth that consistency and that effort, hitting shots and matching up. Right? Like every matchup, no matter what, how favorable, whatever, right? You're always going to have to concede things. There's always going to be things that you're going to concede. Right? And the Lakers decided to try to stop Anthony Edwards and make everyone else beat them. And the thing is everyone else beat them. Right? Jaden McDaniels had the best game that he's had in the playoffs. Right? Jaden McDaniels might never score 25 in the playoffs again. Genuine. He was their best player last night. Right? And Naz Reid, right? I mean, he loves to play the Lakers for whatever. Naz Reid just always shows up against the Lakers. Right? So he's a concern. But, you kind of go down the list. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, all these guys. They beat us. They were the ones that were making the hustle plays, hitting the shots, doing the things that we need our role guys to do. But you also need your other guys, not named Luka, to show up offensively. You need LeBron James to be better offensively. Again, not really worried about him. Austin Reeves, you need Austin Reeves to be better offensively. Again, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to get, on him too quickly, right? Like, it was a game. It happens. Bad games happen. Bad moments happen. Bad stretches happen. It happens, right? You take this on the chin, you take your lump, and you move on, and you handle business in game 2. You win one of the games in Minnesota. Now the ship is right, and all is right in the world, and boom, we're back in business, right? So it's a game at a time, it's a step at a time. But Lakers need to understand that, you're not good enough to just, hey, we're not going to play a full 48 minutes. We're not going to do the little things and the dirty work and make the hustle plays and hit shots and, overhelp and extend and do all these things. right? Like Minnesota just literally just slice and diced them. They had no answer for them. They were hitting everything. They were making everything. That they did what they were supposed to do. It was their job. But this was a concern that I had with Minnesota. Well, I said I don't really want to play Minnesota in the first round. That I believe the Lakers beat Minnesota. I still believe the Lakers beat Minnesota. But I think it's a matchup that could very well go south very quickly because they do have the size and the versatility, right? The Lakers, if they play to the level in which they can play, and LeBron, Reeves, and Luka are cooking to the level in which we need them to cook, then there is an argument to be made that Minnesota might be one of the easier matchups, right? But when the Lakers play into Minnesota's game, they're one of the hardest matchups for us to play. The problem was that the Lakers played into Minnesota's game rather than playing their game, right? So they got smacked, and rightfully so. And hopefully they figure that out, and it's a wake-up call. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? I feel what are your thoughts? Agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.